In this video tutorial, we will be talking about the divide and measure commands in AutoCAD. But to do that, we first have to talk about something in the draw command, and that would be the point command, because the divide and measure commands use points to show what you have asked the divide and measure commands to do. So we can find points in a number of places. If we go up to the draw command, we can click right here. It says multiple points. We can type in points as we see fit. I'm going to delete those now. We can also type the point command in at the command prompt, and we can put a point right there as well. Now, it's also important to understand that the points you create the style can be changed and the size can be changed. There are commands you can type into the command prompt, but I will show you where to find them here. So if I go to point style, it brings up the point style dialog box, and here we can see the different types of point options, and we can change the size as well. So let's go from this point style to this point style. Now, one of the things you got to keep in mind is you can only have one point style active in a drawing. I type in PD mode. Let's put in 66. And there it goes back to the one that we've chosen for this tutorial. So I can access them at the command prompt via the PD mode, or I can go up to the utilities and access the point style dialog box. We're just going to leave them at that, in that style and that size for now. So if I go point at the command prompt again, I can put in my points again just like the ones below show it. Okay, so I've created the 3 points there. Okay, so let's talk about the divide command first. So let's go into here with our mouse. So the divide command, it's going to divide up the geometry we touch, whether it's a line, circle, or arc, into equal size segments. Now, for instance, this line right here, I don't know how long this line is. I could ask AutoCAD and find out, but I don't know. But I do know I want it to be divided into 8 segments. So then AutoCAD will do the math and figure out, well, how long does each segment need to be to have 8? So I'm going to type in divide. And the first thing it says, select the object you want to divide. So I click on it. And then it asks me another question. Enter the number of segments. Let's put 8. Let's hit the space bar, brings us back into the divide command. Let's click on the object. It asks us, how many segments do you want? And this one we want 6. If I hit the space bar, it brings me back into the divide command. I click on the geometry I want to divide. It says, how many segments do you want? I want 4. And so irregardless of what the distance is between the segments, it's going to give me what I asked for. All right. So let's go down to measure. The measure command works like the divide command, except where the divide command gives you the number of segments you want, the measure command gives you the number of segments based on how long you want them. So let's type in measure, and let's select the object to measure. And then AutoCAD asks us, well, how long of a segment do you want? And it says up here, measure the objects below using the 1.5 increment, or a 1.5 increment. So we put in 1.5, and there it is. Notice it started measuring from this side. Let's see why that is. If I go back into my measure command, I'm going to click, that's the undo command, so measure. Notice I'm clicking on this end of the line. That's where I did the first time, so it measured from this side. I'm going to click on this one, this side this time. And I'm going to put in 1.5. Notice how it starts from this side this time. So the measure command, based on which end you pick, it begins to measure segments that are the length that you told it. And in this case, it's 1.5. So we get down to the very end, we don't have an equal, little spot sticking out here like we did in the divide command, because we're asking it to measure a specific length, not just divide it up into so many segments. So that's the measure command. Now there's one more option in the measure command. Let's go back and type in measure. And let's click on the object. Now this time it says use, I'm going to turn this off. It says use the block option. So I'm going to go down here and click block. This says enter the name. It says use the block name of donut. Now we have already supplied a block named donut. in here. We've already created it, so we can call it up. And it says, do you want it to line? Sure, it defaults to yes. And that's going to say, hey, what's the line segment side? Well, we'll go with 1.5 again. And there it did. It divided up our line based on our measurement of 1.5 using a block that we specified as opposed to the points. So that's how the divide and measure commands work.